name is Riyad. Today I will share with you a scary and mysterious incident from my life. The incident happened a long time ago when I was in class 7, and now I'm 75. There was a boy named Tuhin in our class. Everyone in the class used to tease Tuhin by calling him a Jinn kid. However, I never saw him complain to the teacher about this. On the contrary, he seemed quite happy when he heard this name. I still didn't know much about the secret of this name. My father was transferred from the main city and moved to Village City to live with his elder uncle. This city was one of my father's most disliked places. I heard from my mother that my father had run away and married my mother. My father and my elder uncle had a lot of arguments over this at first. Later, of course, Nana accepted the matter, and although the relationship between the two improved considerably with the mediation of Nana, my father was a little ashamed of this. My elder uncle would sometimes make fun of this issue in between conversations and embarrass my father even more. A few days after arriving, I was admitted to a local private school in the 7th grade. I didn't like the school environment very much. Although I secretly argued with my mother about this, I never had the courage to tell my father openly. Even if I didn't tell my father, he understood my state of mind. One evening after returning from the office, he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You don't like school, do you, kid? I don't like the place very much either. I am arranging to transfer in 3 months. Try to adapt to the place with a little effort during these 3 months and study well." Hearing my father's words, my heart softened instantly. It's only a matter of 3 months. It will pass by in a few days. I made some friends. Sifat was one of them. After school holidays, I would spend the afternoon playing football or cool it in the field and study at the table in the evening. After a while, my father would return home from the office and be happy to see me at the table. Almost a month passed like this. At that time, I had not yet met the boy named Tuhin. The secret of calling him a genius was still unknown to me. I am a bit of an introverted boy. I don't open my mouth easily. I wasn't in the habit of saying anything to anyone. And for some unknown reason, I didn't like the boy Tuhin very much. If I could just avoid him, I would conquer the world. As far as I remember, it was Thursday. The break time fell a little early due to the 8th versus 9th grade football match. Since Tamal Shafiq hadn't come to school, I was standing in a corner of the field watching the football game with the boys from the older class. Suddenly I saw Tuhin come towards me with a smile and stand next to me. Even though I was feeling quite unwell inside, I kept my eyes on the game without giving Tuhin a chance to understand. After a while, Tuhin asked himself, "Which team are you on?" The game was between the boys of the 8th and 9th grades. In the 9th grade, my uncle had a brother, Tapu from his area. He played brilliantly. Seeing his game, many people said that the boy would one day be the pride of the country. You can never expect the opposing team to win the match when Tapu is on the team. The boys in the senior class used to respect him. Then I told the indifferent Tuhin that I was on Tapu's team. I am sure that Tapu's team will win today. Tuhin remained silent for a while. After hearing my words, I looked at Tuhin once and saw that he was mumbling something with his eyes closed. Then when he opened his eyes, he told me that your Tapu's team will not be able to win today. They will lose by 3-0 and go home crying. I got very angry after hearing Tuhin's words. I said that you should not make predictions without seeing Tapu's game. When the opposing team is not dreaming of winning, you say that they will lose by 3-0. Are you crazy? Tuhin smiled after hearing my words and said, "Okay, we will see when the game is over." Tuhin's such arrogance really hurt my feelings. In the first half of the match, Tapu's team failed to score a goal despite attacking a lot. But after the break, the entire scene on the field changed as if by magic. After the break, Tapu's team took the field and conceded a goal. The spectators on the field were in a state of shock. It was not supposed to happen like that. But strangely enough, it is true. Tapu's team left the field crying after losing 3-0 that day. I was in a state of tearing my hair out at the suddenness of the game. I lost the bet with Tuhin the boy. But it was beyond my imagination that his words would match so easily. I couldn't match anything. I lowered my head and looked to the side and saw that Tuhin was not there. but he was supposed to be shouting next to me in joy of winning. From that day on, I couldn't hold my curiosity about Tuhin the boy anymore. I started keeping an eye on Tuhin in between classes. I could smell a sense of mystery in everything Tuhin did. One day after the break, he saw me at the school gate and said, "I said that on purpose that day. I feel very ashamed when you look at me like that in class. Please don't look at me like that again." After this incident, Tuhin and I developed a very good relationship. Since the school was quite close to my uncle's house, I would come earlier and save a seat on the bench for Tuhin. Everyone else in the class started teasing me for being Jinn's friend. At first, I would get angry hearing this, but one day I held Tuhin tightly. "Why does everyone call you a child of a Jinn?" Hearing my words, Tuhin became serious and replied, "I am the son of a Jinn. I study with you in school in human form. This has been annoying me ever since I told them." At Tuhin's such firmness, I smiled and said, "I believed you, but can you prove it to me?" Hearing my words, Tuhin did not answer. After that, almost a long time passed. At that time, I was sitting at home enjoying myself after finishing a 7th grade exam. Suddenly, one evening, Tuhin appeared downstairs. He started calling my name in a thin voice. I quickly went downstairs and asked Tuhin, "What is the matter? You are here this evening." Tuhin said, "I will take you to our house today. My father asked me to take you." Hearing Tuhin's words, I could not help but be surprised. As far as I had heard from Sifat, no one had ever seen Tuhin come by any route. I tried to go to his house many times but couldn't. And today he would take me on his own. I said, "You've never taken me. What do you think of it today?" Tuhin only said that my father liked you very much. Today you are invited to our house. Tuhin's father has never seen me, so how can he like you? Without asking so much, I told my uncle and left. Since it was school holiday after the exams, there was not much pressure to study, so I was quite happy inside, but I still didn't know what awaited me ahead. I started walking along the dirt path with Tuhin in the dark. I had never been on this path before. However, while passing by, I heard that the place was not very good, and I was quite afraid to walk with Tuhin at that time. After walking for an hour, I came to a stop in front of a house. As far as I could guess in the moonlight in the dark, it was an old-fashioned house. In front was a thick thicket of trees, and it seemed that there was no one inside. The whole house was dark. Even though I didn't want to go inside, I asked Tuhin if you live here, but from the outside, it seemed that there was no one inside. "It's a very old house. Aren't you afraid of me?" Hearing my words, Tuhin said with a mysterious smile, "Come inside." We both started walking through the bushes, but it felt like I was floating in the air. A little later, I found myself on the stairs of the 2nd floor. Then I heard the voices of many people from inside. But what were so many people doing inside in the darkness? My eyes widened as I crossed the stairs and entered. I had never seen such a dazzling arrangement of lights, and at that time, my eyes seemed to go blind. However, the strange thing was that the people inside were much bigger than normal people. So big that I felt like I was standing under their knees. Everyone was talking. Someone looked at me once and went back to their work. After a while, such a beautiful man came towards me. He came and greeted me and said, "I have heard a lot about you from Tuhin. Today is the wedding of one of your sisters, so I invited you." I didn't know what to say then. I don't remember ever seeing such a beautiful person. The man's face seemed to be moving in the light. As far as I remember, I just said that I was very hungry. Immediately, some boys who looked like Tuhin got busy. I was taken to a huge room. At that time, it still didn't enter my mind how such a royal arrangement was possible in a house in the dark. The arrangement of all kinds of sweets on the table, the size of the jalopy. It seemed that even 10 boys like me would not be able to finish it, but it is strange but true. As soon as I put it in my mouth, it seemed to disappear. I have no idea how much I ate, but I can say this much, that no one can find such delicious food even if I travel all over the world. After eating, the old man said, "Now you go home. It is late at night. Your mother will worry." When I stepped on the stairs with Tuhin, he suddenly said, "Don't tell anyone about this, not even your mother." Then I don't remember anything else. I don't know when I returned home. Later, I heard from my mother that I had a high fever for 5 days straight. I used to say that I would not tell anyone, no one. After 5 days, I recovered completely, rested for 2 more days, and went to school the next day. When I went, I saw Tuhin sitting on the bench for me. I said, "How do you know that I will come today?" Tuhin said, "My heart was telling me that you will come today." Thus, 3 months passed and summer came. A new boy came to our class. His name was Tapu. He looked scary. His behavior was violent. He was studying in the 7th grade 3 times. With the power of his influential uncle, he was admitted to our school in the middle of the year. As soon as he arrived, he got into trouble with everyone. He forcibly took away food during tiffin, tore up new notebooks. As soon as he got a little push, Tapu punched Sifat right in the nose. Sifat stopped while trying to judge him before the Sir. Because Tapu has no faith, it will be seen that if he finds a fish alone on the street, he will beat him up as he pleases. Because of this Tapu, everyone in the class was restless with fear. Once we all came up with an idea to beat Tapu as we wanted by wrapping our clothes from behind during Tuhin. But Tapu's elephant-like body cannot be kept wrapped in clothes for long, and if someone is attacked with this power, he will not be able to defend himself. This idea died on the field. We all understood that by then. We felt that staying away from Tapu was the only solution. But after a few days, Tapu's eyes fell on Tuhin. We were getting up from the bench and taking out the notebooks we had submitted. Tuhin was sitting in his place and reading a book. At that time, Tapu suddenly came and pushed Tuhin quite hard. Tuhin then fell down in a daze. We then moved away from Tapu in fear. Tuhin got up and said, "Why did you push me?" Tapu cursed loudly and said, "I will give you 100 times. What will you do? What do you think of yourself? How dare you? You haven't even spoken to me yet." I could see Tuhin's eyes were slightly red. I couldn't tell if it was because of tears or fear. Hearing Tuhin's words, Tapu got even angrier and started swearing in foul language. He even called out Tuhin's parents a few times. Tuhin's eyes were red like fire. It was as if smoke was coming out of his eyes. We all got scared when we saw Tuhin. We'd never seen him get angry like this. Tuhin, the politest boy in the class, suddenly changed. Tuhin's voice also changed in an instant. He said in a strange voice, "You called out my family and swore at me. I will not leave this area until I kill you." Saying this, Tuhin immediately left the class with his bag in his hands. Seeing Tuhin's facial expression, we went out to call Tuhin and saw that Tuhin had vanished in an instant. It was impossible for someone to cross such a large school ground so quickly on foot. 3 o'clock passed in between all this. Even after returning home, I could not concentrate on my studies. The next day, we all thought that Tuhin might bring his father today, but nothing happened. 5 days later, that day was Friday. Sifat ran and stood in front of the gate. Sifat gasped and said, "Someone must have killed Tapu and left him in the school grounds. Come quickly." I dropped my books. I reached the school grounds with Sifat. As I pushed through the crowd of people and got closer, I was shocked. When I remember that scene even today, I feel really brave. Such a terrifying scene. Many people couldn't dare to be there. There were marks of a handkerchief on Tupu's face, and his lips and tongue fell to the ground next to Tupu's body. There were marks of fingernail scratches on many parts of his body. However, his face was pale. It was as if he had taken out all his anger on his face. Suddenly, I remembered Tuhin's last words. Then I started running along the road with Sifat. Sifat kept asking, "Where are we going?" As soon as we reached the dirt road, Sifat refused to go anymore. Nevertheless, we both stood in front of the old house. With Sifat, the thick bushes were just like before, but during the day, I was scared. My whole body started shaking with fear. Did I come to this house to receive a wedding invitation? I then started calling Tuhin. Sifat was surprised by my behavior and said, "Have you lost your mind or not? Why are you calling Tuhin?" I said, "Tuhin lives here. Wait, he will come out in a while." Sifat quickly pulled me to the paved road and said, "Get out of here quickly. Don't you know that no one has set foot in that house in the last 100 years? It was a colony during the British era. When people started dying due to supernatural events, the house became abandoned. No one comes to this road even during the day." I was shocked. So what was it about going to the party that night? Talking to Tuhin's father, eating food? Was it just a dream? It could never happen. It took me a long time to get back to normal after this incident. However, the police could not solve the mystery of the murder. We never saw Tuhin again. Even the police searched a lot and could not find his address. A year later, I met Tuhin for the last time. I remembered Tuhin very much. I never thought that he would disappear like this. If only I could speak to him in person. I kept thinking about this, and it seemed that Tuhin had heard my thoughts. One night I was sitting on the roof and chatting with my friend. Suddenly a call came from behind. Tuhin was standing in a corner of the roof. Seeing Tuhin, I ran and hugged him and cried. I asked, "Where did you get lost?" "Do you know how long I searched?" Tuhin said. "I left that area after the Tapu incident." Tuhin said, "We can't tolerate abuse." Still, he abused me by calling my parents' names. I couldn't bear it. I talked to Tuhin for a long time that day. After that, I never met Tuhin again. However, Tuhin is still a mysterious boy to me. Sometimes when I remember that night in the old house, my body freezes with fear. Was Tuhin really a child of a genie? Who came to study in human disguise. There are so many mysterious things that happen in the world. Some come to light, some remain hidden. Maybe you were one of them.